The phone has the power to let a receiver speak honestly. But it's not enough to make a drama out of this power alone. So, what kind of restrictions can be added here? First of all, the receiver can't keep the memory that they talked on the phone itself. This power seems useful at first. But later on, she faces some disadvantages, like the receiver tells her that he loves her on the phone, but he doesn't remember. The memory gets lost when he hangs up the phone. Next, but more important is, the role of Shinigami Luke from Death Note. He says, the human who uses the notebook can neither go to heaven nor hell. This is very strong power. He says that in the first or second episode, and it curses the whole story. So you need to have an equivalent restriction here. Then what do you think smartphone users can be afraid of? I guess it could be a phone bill. 1 minute, 1 year. Firstly, using a love smartphone for 1 minute takes 1 year of her lifetime. Secondly, the receiver can't keep the memory that they talked on the phone itself. 1 minute, 1 year. With these two restrictions, it's finally becoming an idea that you can use. Needless to say, she can't make a phone call without knowing the phone number. Alright. You see no originality ideas here so far. I'm simply converting Death Note into a shoujo manga. I'm doing it repeatedly here without thinking. She gets a love smartphone one day. The phone has the power to let a receiver speak honestly. First things first, she needs to have his phone number. It takes 1 year of her lifetime. Secondly, the receiver can't keep the memory that they talked on the phone itself. Let's use these restrictions. Shinigami Luke is converted to a collector. A collector, that is, someone who collects her life. He is her friend and her enemy at the same time. She can't really tell what he is. But he is a very helpful character for sure. Let's move on to the names. How about going with Tsukiko? Now, boy's name. How about going with Mr. L? There is a battle going on between them. In shonen manga, battles are about winning or losing. But in shoujo manga, the battle means who falls in love first. So, to maintain this battle structure, what it would be. This is a boy. And this is a girl. It's a shoujo manga. Next, the boy should be someone she doesn't have a phone number for. If she had his phone number, the drama would develop too quickly. He should be someone she has no connection to. Add to it, he should be someone shoujo manga readers admire. He must be an idol. Mr. L is her idol. She has had a crush on him. She's longing to have a romantic relationship with him. She has no connection to him. If she called all the people she knew and asked them if they had his phone number, maybe she'd eventually find someone who did. But mind you, 1 minute talk takes her 1 year of her lifetime. This limits her actions. So how do you develop the story? Of course, she can try to be an idol. But don't forget, Light's father connects him and L. Then why don't you bring her mother here? Simply because it's a shoujo manga. I'm just changing genders. You bring her mother here. Next, what does her mother do? Light's father is a detective. This is because Death Note causes murders. So her mother's job should be something that can use the full power of the love smartphone where you can see what the other person is really thinking. Also something that somehow brings her closer to Mr. L. There are more possibilities. Like a manager in show business, an actress, and all. But the story should reach the point where her mother meets him. and it's better having many other characters as romance rivals. How can I make it work? I chose a fortune teller as her job. If it's a fortune teller, the main character can help her mother's business by using the love smartphone, because she can see what people are really thinking. Tsukiko gets the love smartphone and finds out that it has the power to see what the other person is really thinking. At first, she asks her classmates what they think about her or who was dating, and she gets very excited about such a simple thing. One night, a collector appears in front of her. He tells her that 1 minute talk takes 1 year of her lifetime. She gets horrified to hear that. She decides she'll never use such a horrible thing again. But her mother receives a job offer from a TV show just at the same time. She hears that Mr. L also might be there. That changes her mind. She might be able to get his phone number. Her mother's job helps her to get closer to him. Here you've got the rough structure to make a seiyuu manga. So one of the climaxes of the first half is whether or not she gets his phone number. The other is how many minutes she uses the love smartphone to get his phone number. You make these points to grab the reader's attention. Now there's another problem here, even though she did get his phone number. Shoujo manga readers are early teenagers, so she would be around 13 years old. On the other hand, he is an idol, probably around 18 years old. So they have a big age gap. For her, he is a very mature man. For him, she is just a child. It's almost impossible for him to fall in love with her. This is how romance manga works. You make a romance happen in this impossible situation. Even if Tsukiko has a connection through the love smartphone to him, he doesn't have many romantic feelings for her. Her mother is a fortune teller, so she gets the personal information like the phone number of the clients in events. She calls the clients on the love smartphone for a few seconds at a time and asks them in advance what they really think and what their problems are. She tells that to her mother beforehand. Her mother casually mentions them and that makes her fortune telling more famous and popular. Finally her mother gets an offer for a TV show, and she can reach Mr. L. She finally gets his phone number. But actually they have very little to talk on the phone. For example, what he really likes, what it's like when he was a child, what he thinks about her. Asking such things means nothing to her. Even if she gets to understand him deeply, it means nothing more than that. What's more, her lifetime decreasing rapidly. He also can't keep the memory that they talked on the phone. Then what happens from here? You can use the development in Death Note. He has no memory of what he said on the phone. Tsukiko is a daughter of the fortune teller he recently met at a TV show recording. She's 13, and he doesn't have many romantic feelings for her. He doesn't even think of asking her out. That girl knows his true feelings somehow. She knows what he's thinking, his secrets, and what he really likes. He becomes interested in her gradually. But he doesn't know why. On the other hand, she finally gets to talk to him in a friendly way like this.
What do you think of me?
To be honest, I've been thinking of you a lot lately.
You're in love with me.
No, I'm not. I don't think so.
But the moment he hangs up the phone, his memory of that conversation is completely erased. Tsukiko is going through a very difficult time. Here, gradually you shifted towards a shoujo manga. If you stop development here, it'd turn out to be like Death Note. The reader can get bored of the story. I mean, the reader enjoys the story between them and to some extent. But if the story reaches the point where they know their feelings about each other, that's the end of the story. Then how did the author create a turning point in Death Note? They become more and more connected to each other. And his feelings can remain with him even though he lost his memory. He'll start to think of her a lot without knowing why.
Wait a minute. She's only 13. She's a fortune teller's daughter. I can't have a serious relationship with her. But what makes me feel at ease with her?
Of course, he does. He never speaks his true feelings to anyone. He speaks them only to Tsukiko on the phone. He speaks honestly to her, and the emotions of that moment remain with him. His feelings all remain with him, but his memories are completely missing. He can't stop thinking of her more and more. Tsukiko really wants to let him know that she understands him deeply. But they talk honestly only when they're on the phone. It even takes her 1 year of her lifetime per 1 minute. She calls him with her life cut short. Just as the story is about to develop, a picture of them appears in a gossip magazine. There's an idol who's rumored to be his girlfriend. She's about the same age as him, around 17. Tsukiko gets surprised to see that. She gets a closer look at the picture, surprised that he had a girlfriend. Then she finds a familiar smartphone in his girlfriend's bag. This is the equivalent of Misa Isa in Death Note. In other words, this is where the second love smartphone comes in. It leads to the question, how many of these love smartphones are there in this story? This part of Death Note, where the second notebook comes in, is an excellent work. But you have to be careful, the second part of Death Note became a big mess after the second notebook came in. The story got kind of ruined in the end.